Hello, everybody. Welcome to Targeting Winners. This is our live stream of the SEC 2026 preview. SEC, a conference where if you have a 9-3 record, seems perfectly reasonable. Unless you're in the SEC, then they want a new coach, new quarterback, FBI investigation into the referees, and so on and so forth, because it just means more down there. I'm joined, as always, by Darren. How are you doing, bud?
I'm good, man. I was just talking before we went live. This kind of feels like, just yesterday we did our national championship preview and the Heisman and all the G6, a couple of the power conferences. Just feels like today, like with SEC Media Days being this week, and we're like 37 days out from actual FBS football. Yeah, man. Before you know it, we're going to be in August and cannot wait.
And we are off and running. And Captain Pete sailing around Lake Michigan. How you doing? Thanks for dressing up, by the way.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, so I put some clothes on for this. Yeah, I mean, we've got part one, part two of SEC, part one, part two of Big Ten, and then we go. And that is pretty exciting, right? So we are covering the two most powerful conferences in a row here near the end on purpose, because we want to spend a good amount of time on them. So I'm excited. I'm excited to dive a little deeper than we have for most of the other conferences. So looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, speaking of the live stream, let's do some house cleaning here. Next week, I believe we're doing part two of the SEC. And so that'll be, when is that? The 30th, I believe. And that'll also be at 7. Check my math on that. All right. There we go. And we have a new email. So instead of the CFB dudes at the Yahoo, we got targetingwinners@gmail.com. So if you have anything you want us to cover, send us an email. If you have any questions or anything like that, you can contact us there at targetingwinners@gmail.com. All right, boys, you ready? Time to dive right in, eh?
Yes, sir.
Here we go. It is time for SEC.
Better team to start with.
I mean, here's a pretty team that no one seems to follow. We got the Alabama Crimson Tide. Plus 850 to win the conference. The over-under win total is at 8.5 wins. Darren, let's kick it off with you here with the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, so let's a little recap their 2025 season. They went 11-4, including a 7-1 conference record. Very interesting postseason for these guys. They got smacked by Georgia 28-7 in the SEC title game. Came from 17 points down to beat Oklahoma in the first round of the college football playoff, 34-24. And then the one game that Alabama haters are still relishing to this day, the 38-3 beatdown in the Rose Bowl at the hands of eventual national champion Indiana. DraftKings also has those same odds there, plus 850 to win the conference, win total 8.5. DraftKings has that slightly juiced to the under. All right, so let's start with taking a look at this offense, guys, because everything you saw about Alabama this year, it was just offensive line can't do this, offensive line can't do that, and that was incredibly accurate. An SEC team of Alabama's stature, 125th in the country in rush yards per game. But what you also may not know is they kind of sucked at protecting Ty Simpson as well, 111th in the nation in sacks allowed. So when you're an offensive line coach and your group has two responsibilities and they can't do either, you're out of work. And that's the case here. So Adrian Clem comes in to take over the O-line here. Now, one of the things we do like here is when a position group is actually not good. We don't like to see a lot of those guys come back. And fortunately, if you're a Crimson Tide fan, that's what we have here. 4 starters gone, a lot of depth also gone. So this unit is pretty much starting from scratch. The only other returning starter besides that one offensive lineman is wide receiver Ryan Coleman Williams, who just got married and took his wife's name. I found out today, if you're wondering why he's now Coleman Williams. So congrats on your marriage, bro. I'm sure you're not watching. But yeah, so he's going to need some help. So the wide receiver room, a little bit of inexperience there. And I don't know if this team has a North Carolina State jinx of some sort, but they got this guy Noah Rogers, came over from the Wolfpack. He got hurt in the spring game, carted off the field, not going to be available to start the season. So the wide receiver room get a little bit of a nick there. However, Sadarian Morgan, who is a freshman, positive things about him in the spring, so keep an eye on him. Also, the running back position, if you remember, they did get Hollywood Smothers temporarily, who also played for NC State last year. He decided he's going to go to Texas instead. So I don't know what Alabama did to NC State, but they're apparently paying it back here. Running back room, not a train wreck, though. Daniel Hill or E.J. Crowell, who also had an excellent spring, could lead this backfield, so not too concerned there. But we all know when you're talking the Alabama offense, what's the story? Who's going to be the quarterback? You've got Austin Mack, who's got multiple years with Kalen DeBoer going all the way back to their Washington days. And then you got the highly touted freshman, Keelan Russell, who actually had a much better spring game than Mack. I would like to see Russell get this job. Bet that all that I made that I'll be giving out a little shortly here is based on hopefully with him getting it. But Pete, I'll turn it over to you. You look at this offense and the offensive line, all the issues they've had. What are your thoughts on the quarterback battle, and what do you think this offense is going to look like in 2026?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think you hit the nail on the head with the quarterback situation. I think in terms of upside, higher ceiling projection, that's Keelan Russell, right? So, I mean, I think you're kind of, taking a shot at the national championship and all of that, and you need upside potential. That's the direction I would go. That's it. I mean, I think they have two very decent quality quarterbacks. I think Mack would be a very solid solution in that position. So it's a good problem to have in a way here, because I think you have two very capable people, but I think their upside is just very different. So when I look at that, I say I would go Russell, because I think there's a lot of upside there. Agree with you on backs and the offensive line for sure. This for a long time, if you think about Alabama and when they were dominant, what do they dominate? The line, both sides of the ball, right? Kind of what Georgia does now, and we'll talk about Georgia later, but the same kind of thing, right? Dominating the line. They need to get a bit more back to that. I think, on the defensive side, which I'll move into now, with the line, they lost a lot of major production in that front, right? And so that's going to be a challenge for them. They brought in, 5 different guys to stabilize that line, which I think is really good. One of the things, they still have Pierre and Hill, which are the returning edge players. They've got to be more effective, right? I think at times they were effective, but they disappeared at times, and that team needs them to be effective. Now, that said, right, this team does not need one dominant pass rusher, right, if they can control first down. And that's what they did a long time, right? When they were, once again, dominant, they were controlling the line, they were controlling it on the first down, they would put the other offense into bad situations. If they can do that, they don't need a dominant pass rusher. They just need some consistent kind of normal pressure, which I think they can get. When I think about one of their issues, I mean, I get a little concerned when they play against elite, either rushing quarterbacks or physical lines, right? And I want to see how they hold up against that through, entire game, because I think that could create a problem, especially with mobile quarterbacks. Got to see how those ends work out, but that'll be interesting. Secondary side, I think, at the end of the day, this has been one of their best units. It's one of the best units in the SEC and has been for a while. So a really, really good secondary. So that's a positive thing. I think that does help balance out, quarterback situation, and especially if they're mobile, but still, right, when you have secondary coming up to stop mobile quarterbacks, that opens passing lanes downfield. That can be a problem, right? So a lot of potential. I mean, this is Alabama, right? They have a ton of talent on both sides of the ball. Kalen DeBoer has done a great job. When you follow a legend, that almost always doesn't work. In this case, it's worked, right? He stabilized this program. The program is still bringing in quality talent. They're a good program. Now the question is, can he raise it up, right, to what Saban did before, right? Can he get up there? Can he win a national title? That'll be interesting. So those are my thoughts on the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
All right. Before I get into the defense, I just see we just got a couple comments here. Our boy Ethan, he's got all of his police buddies watching the show. Thank frickin' God sports betting's legal, or we'd be off this channel in like 3 minutes. But Ethan, appreciate you checking in as always, man. And Marty, he's excited for Auburn's future. Marty, my friend, you are not the only one. We're going to get into them a couple teams.
We'll leave it to an Auburn fan to interrupt Alabama's breakdown.
As well they should. As well they should. That's what this conference is about, Tim. Marty knows. All right, but yeah, just quick thoughts on the defense here. You had mentioned the line and some of the losses they had there. Yeah, I mean, four starters off that defense headed to the NFL, 2 on the line, 2 linebackers. Devin Tompkins, a USC transfer, supposedly very impressive in the spring as well. I look for him to have a decent year, even though he had 3 sacks with the Trojans last year. You had mentioned Pierre, who led the team with 8 sacks, is back. I like this Virginia Tech transfer, Caleb Woodson. I think he might be a nice compliment to Pierre there. The secondary looks great. I didn't touch on that, but like pretty much everybody is coming back from this secondary. I love what this group looks like. So I think if, like you said, if they can get any kind of pass rush, that's only going to help the secondary out. So I'm really excited for what this defense is going to look like. Tim already has the schedule up there. So, all right, guys. So let's take a look at that schedule. Again, we said that win total is 8.5. I believe that is pretty much the same across the board. Tim, you've been staring at this while Pete and I have been yapping. What, 8.5? Juice to the under? You see 4 losses here? I mean, I know
I do not.
All right.
I see maybe. Yeah, I was really leaning towards hitting the over on this myself. I see one possible. Obviously, you got Georgia. That's the tough game. They got A&M at home. They got winnable road games. LSU is the only questionable road game, but they should be able to handle Kentucky. Maybe Tennessee gives them fits. Tennessee always seems to give them fits, no matter how good or bad they are. So that may be a close game, but I still think they pull out a win there. I was really close to firing on the over here, but yeah, looking at the schedule, I don't really see 4 losses. Sadly, September the 18th or 19th there, that's going to be a really easy win at home against my guys. But yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. But the SEC, there's always a surprise somewhere.
Yeah, I took a peek at this too, and I mean, as much as I hate to pile on the Seminoles there, I think they're going 3-0 in the non-conference. You look at that home schedule, Georgia and A&M, possibly the only 2 that they could lose. I mean, you guys know I'm not super high on A&M. I think they get that one. As bad as this team was running the ball, like we touched on, they still went into Georgia and beat them last year. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're going to sweep the home schedule, but if they get 3 wins there, then you only have to find 3 on the road. And like you said, Kentucky is a road opponent. Mississippi State, Vanderbilt. I mean, this to me looks like a 9-win team at the worst. Pete, what do you think?
Right.
Yeah, that's where I am. I mean, I think I could see 3 losses potentially. It really depends. If you look at that 4-game stretch, right? Georgia, Tennessee, A&M, LSU, right? If they can get that thing started well, right? If they can win that Georgia game, right? I think it'll build momentum in there. But if it starts to slide on them in that 4-game stretch, that could really be a problem. And this is all dependent on this quarterback position playing itself out, right? So if it doesn't, right? If you don't see immediate production, I don't want to bash Florida State, because I think that could be a dangerous game against Florida State if you don't have the quarterback position clicking. So there's a lot of if, whats, maybes here. But at the end of the day, yeah, 9-3, maybe 10-2 team. The floor, I think, is probably 8-4. I can't see them being any worse than that. So that's where I land on the record.
Yeah, I like how it starts out. Like usually you get all the non-conference games early, but even whatever quarterback it is, while they try and work their way into the offense. I mean, you go to Kentucky week 2. I mean, they're not projected to be one of the good teams in this conference here, so that might be a nice game to win. And then you get South Carolina at home. They've had so many offensive line issues. Who knows what they're going to look like this year? Although I do like Lamar Sellers. This team could very easily be 5-0 going into that home game with Georgia, and I think if they are, the 9 is the worst they can do. So with that being said, bam, I took over 8.5, 1 unit. You can get even money at DraftKings as we're sitting here today. So that's my play, man. I don't see this any worse than a 9-win team. So 1 unit on the over.
Yep.
That's a great play.
So there you go.
I mean,
plus money.
The chances they're going to be 8-4 are pretty low. Like I said, that's the floor. I mean, probability wise, you're like 75% or better that they're going to finish at least 9-3 or better, and that gets you your win. So it makes a lot of sense.
Well, if you really want to make it really basic for the 4 brain cells that I have working, we talked about all the problems they had offensively, and this team still went 7-1 in the conference.
Yeah,
I mean, I know there's 9 conference games this year, so you're telling me if they sweep their non-conference, they need to go 5-4 in conference play for that bet to not hit. I don't see that happening. So that's my bet. All right, moving on alphabetically. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. From one extreme to the other, we got Arkansas. Got the Razorbacks plus 20,000. So if any alumni want to go up there and do something crazy, there you go. You get plus 20,000. These are on Hard Rock bets. And the over-under win total is 4.5 wins. So we'll start again with Darren. We'll just keep it with you here.
Yeah, I believe in betting terms, you say if you bet $50 on Arkansas to win the conference, that means you'll have lost $50. But yeah, you know what? Stranger things have happened. But yeah, 2-10 last year, 0-8 in the conference, 10 straight losses to end the season. New head coach Ryan Silverfield, he came over from Memphis. He brought his offense coordinator with him, and the new defense coordinator is former Florida DC Ron Roberts. 4.5 at DraftKings, heavily juiced to the under. All right, Pete. Let's start with the offense here. They didn't really have too many problems. The offense was not the issue here with Bobby Petrino running the show and then eventually taking over for Pittman halfway through the year. But again, the quarterback's gone. So who's your QB? You've got KJ Jackson, who was the backup. You've got AJ Hill, who came over from Memphis. They have one combined start between the two of them, so not a lot of experience at the quarterback position. Another Memphis transfer, Sutton Smith, looks like he's going to be RB1 here. However, Braylon Russell, very impressive in the spring, so they could have a nice two-headed RB duo there. And yeah, another Memphis transfer, wide receiver Jamari Hawkins and Chris Marshall from Boise State joined C.J. Brown, who's the only returning starter in that group. Offensive line brings back two starters, but with all these new skill position players, new coaching staff, new offense, a little bit of continuity with all the Memphis guys coming over. I just don't see this offense being as proficient as it was last year. Should still be good because Memphis did have a nice offense last year, but I see a little regression here. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, for a team that was, what happened to Arkansas? For a team that perennially was concerning and you didn't want to go play them because they were dangerous at home. Good God, this team went through some stuff, right? So yeah, offense was not bad. Any Bobby Petrino offense is going to be good if you have a player or two that can do anything. So that's not a surprise. So what is the continuity here with the change? I don't know. I mean, I think once again, the quarterback room is a little up in the air, right? Who knows where this is going to go? I mean, you would think perhaps bringing his guy AJ Hill over from Memphis, that's the direction it'll probably go, but that doesn't mean it's going to go that way. We really don't know. So it's difficult. It's always difficult to really rate an offense when you don't know at all what the quarterback position is going to be. I'm just assuming it's going to be AJ Hill, and we'll go with that, right? So from that perspective, running backs, I agree. I think that's one of the strengths of this team, are running back 1 and 2. I think you'll get some production out of them. Offensive line, had some turnover, some new people coming in. I think the issue is going to be cohesion, right? So early on, getting this team, this offensive line to gel together, that's going to take a little time. What will that mean going forward? What does that do to your running game? We'll have to see how that plays out. But really, I mean, as you mentioned, the issues with this team, largely defensive side of the ball. I mean, if you look at the linebackers, I mean, that's going to be an issue, especially in the scheme they run, which requires linebackers to be fast, be calling out plays on defense, so to be able to read the offense and what they're doing. So there's a lot expected of the linebackers in the scheme they're going to run here. I don't know if they have the linebackers to do that, but I think they have the athletic ability, but we've not seen these linebackers operate in that system. So I think that's going to be a bit of a challenge. I do think on the secondary front that this team has gotten better. Right, I think they brought in some players, and I think they will be better. They've got to be better because it was not good before. But once again, you're going to see cohesion and all of that. But there was a massive roster turnover here, as you would expect with a new coach coming in. So it's really tough to say what they're going to be. But I think they'll be better. I mean, I think you're going to see a team that through the year will improve. So those are my initial thoughts.
Yeah, defensive, as awesome as the offense was, this defense was exactly the opposite. I mean, nobody in this conference gave up more points or yards per game than this group here. However, only 2 returning starters. So, I mean, can it get much worse? I
No.
hope not. But again, I mean, you just look at some of the losses here. Quincy Rhodes Jr., who led the team with 8 sacks, is back, but the top 6 tacklers all gone. Only 22 sacks as a unit last year. That's not going to get it done. And also turnovers. I mean, they only had 6 interceptions and 3 fumble recoveries on the year. That's a terrible way to roll in the SEC. They did get Jaheim Johnson from Tulane, who had 4 interceptions on his own. So maybe there's a little promise there in the secondary. But again, you're talking almost 24 defensive transfers coming in here. I have no idea if I can trust this unit at all. And I'm already kind of hesitant to see another offense like 2025 with Petrino gone and the QB gone. Tim, you've been staring at this schedule. I think from our yapping, we're kind of leaning the under here. But
I was leaning the under. I mean, like I said, I'm trying to keep it to one futures bet per show here, so I don't blow my whole bankroll on futures. But look at this schedule. I mean, in North Alabama, okay, they're playing Utah at Utah. That's gonna. This whole schedule looks brutal. And I just think it looks too good to be true. I'm like, it's a trap. So I was really leaning to go with the under for the win total. I only see maybe two wins total right here. And so I'm thinking something's going to happen. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. So I was leaning more under here than over with Alabama, but I decided to leave it alone. So I'm going to save my bullet for another target later on. So, but I was definitely leaning the under.
This was one I almost considered the alternate 3.5 and took the under at some plus money here. I mean, this team could conceivably possibly go 0-9 in the conference this year. I mean, they do have the 5 home games, which is not, half this conference going to have 5 home games, only 4 road. But I mean, Georgia, Tennessee, Missouri, LSU, and South Carolina. Who are they beating out of that? And then, maybe they get a little relief on the road. A&M, Vanderbilt, Texas, Auburn. And then Tulsa at home, but Tulsa's actually like a pretty decent looking team. I mean, I remember talking about they look really good this year. I don't know if they're going to roll into Arkansas and win. But outside of that North Alabama game at home and the Tulsa game at home, I don't even know if I can get to 2 here. And they're not going to win at Utah. The juice is way too high for me for a 4.5. But if you were feeling sassy tonight and we're like, 3.5 at plus money at DraftKings, wouldn't hate it. Really would not hate it at all.
Whew. That schedule's brutal.
It is brutal.
If you're an Arkansas fan, you got to be depressed looking at that schedule. Like, it's a long year.
Pete, what do you think, man? Are Tim and I crazy, or are you like betting?
No, this is a brutal schedule. I mean, for a team that just went through hell and are transitioning to a new coach and all of that, man, they did not do them any favors. I mean, definitely, okay, they should beat North Alabama. Should they beat Tulsa at home? They should, but Tulsa is a decent team, so that could be interesting. Maybe they beat Missouri at home. Maybe. I don't know.
So.
I don't think so either.
Be back by then. I think
I'm stretching for a third because I don't. Maybe South Carolina at home. I don't know. Right. So out of those 4 games, if they win 2, maybe 3, they're not winning all 4. And so now you're under because they're not beating anybody else. They're not going to Utah and winning. Georgia's going to kill them. A&M's going to kill them. Tennessee's going to kill them. I mean, they're not even going to be in half of these games. So, no, you're not crazy. I mean, that alternative line under 3.5 is very enticing. Very enticing. If you have a little money to play with, that's enticing.
I'm just going to check what the plus money is on that while you guys are talking because I don't have DraftKings up. But I was just like, that juice skyrocketed. When I first started my notes, it was only like around minus 140. And then I checked the other day to kind of get things updated. It was like minus 166.
Yeah. I knew they weren't going to be a very good team, but until I got into the prep and looked at the schedule, like, that's not pretty at all.
You can get under 3.5 at plus 140.
Oh, that's crazy. That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful. Honestly.
All right. I'm not doing it because some dumbass has 3 bets already tonight. I'm said dumbass. So I'm not adding a 4th one, but
I am pondering for a different day. Right now,
you're out there listening and you're like, I need some plus money in my futures bankroll. That might be it.
Yeah, I just think the bottom line with this team, I think they're moving the right direction. They're going to be a better team in the future. But they were blessed with a really ugly schedule here. So for them to win 3 games this year was probably success. I don't know because it just doesn't look very positive.
And if we found one person that actually likes this coaching hire, everything I read and watched, nobody likes this Silverfield hire. So I don't know.
Yikes. Well, time will tell. We will see.
All right, Marty.
Yeah, Marty, here we go.
Marty, because I bet on this team 3 times last year and lost all 3 times.
Yeah.
But I am excited like you are.
Right. We got Auburn plus 4,000 to win the conference. The over-under win total is 6.5 wins. Let's keep this pattern going. Darren, lead us off here with Auburn. Eagle.
Man. DraftKings also has plus 4,000 here with that 6.5 win total, slightly juiced to the over. Auburn 5-7 last year, 1-7 in the conference. But they bring over South Florida's pretty much their entire offense, and that's a good thing. This was a top 5 offense pretty much in all of college football. Alex Golish comes over to be the head coach. His offense coordinator, Joel Corden, comes with him. as do like a dozen offensive players. And let me tell you something. If you've ever seen Byron Brown play, I don't know if there's one person that we're going to talk about tonight or in next week's part 2 show that means more to their team than this guy. I mean, there are some others that you could put on that list, but this dude, I mean, last year, over 3,100 passing yards and 28 touchdowns, also over 1,000 rush yards and 14 rushing TDs. Like I said, 10 other offensive players came over with him. Now, yeah, there's some losses, most notably Cam Coleman. That's a huge one. Eric Singleton going to Florida, also not good. But pretty much every wide receiver that South Florida had last year is now on this team. The 4 guys they brought over caught 149 passes from Brown, so the continuity thing, not an issue here. The running back room, they get Jeremiah Cobb back. He was just shy of 1,000 yards. And our favorite Baylor running back, Bryson Washington, who had almost 800 yards, is now on Auburn, and they get to play each other week 1. How convenient. So the running back room looks excellent. Only concern I have offensively here is the line. There's no returning starters. You need to keep Byron Brown healthy if you want to do anything this year.
To say the least.
Yeah, he missed 7 games in 2024 with a leg injury, but obviously 2025, that dude was electric, and I am dying to see what this offense looks like against some of these better SEC defenses. Honestly, I think week 1 against Baylor, whose defense is pretty much ass, and obviously not an SEC defense, I might already just bet the over, because Auburn could, with DJ Lagway, his struggles against SEC, and now he's in Baylor to make things a little easier on himself. He gets an SEC defense right off the bat. I don't know what the line is, but I am already thinking Auburn week 1. But yeah, Pete, this offense, it's basically South Florida version 2.0. What do you think?
It is, and Brown is electric, absolutely electric player who can change a game by himself. That is important. It's going to be important. I agree with everything else you said. The one thing I will say, though, is that offensive line could be a very big problem, right? There is no continuity. You have a bunch of new players, right? Bringing it's just there are many weaknesses. They were a problem before. This line needs to protect Brown. Right. My biggest concern with this team could be a concern with this team. We'll see what the line does. Right. My biggest worry about this team is that Brown is running for his life in those 3 or 4 first games, and he gets beaten down and he gets those nagging injuries, and it changes the way he plays. And if that happens, that will change the ability of this offense to strike like it does. That's my concern. He doesn't need to get hurt bad to go off the field for that to happen. Right. When you're running for your life, when you got defensive backers and such coming at you all the time, if your line is not holding up, that's when you get those little nagging injuries, and those things just beat you up after a while. That is my concern with this team on the offensive side of the ball, right? Otherwise, if this line gels and this line plays well, look out, because this offense with Brown can be absolutely electric, and it'll be fun to watch. So it comes down to the line. We'll see what happens there. Decent defensive side of the ball. So the front, I think they have enough bodies to be functional. They don't have star power in that front, and I don't know what, I don't expect that to be. They need to be functional, right? They need to control the line of scrimmage. That's what I would expect they can do, because they do have enough capable bodies to do that. Secondary is probably Auburn's defensive strength, like that secondary. So that does help them against pass-happy teams, especially if they can't get any pressure on the quarterback. So we'll see how that plays out. But they've had some pretty, major transition to this team, right? 39-person transfer class, right? That's a big class. So that's a lot to happen. It's got to happen relatively soon. That Baylor game will be interesting, right? After that, I think they get a little bit of a break, maybe a little, until they roll into the deeper part of that schedule. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I think a lot of this comes down to the offensive line this year. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, defensively, like you said, just one returning starter on this side of the ball, but it's the dude you would want, linebacker Xavier Atkins, who led the team in tackles and sacks. So nice to get him back. A lot of guys came out of the spring with some positive reviews. Linebacker Bryce Diaz, UCLA transfer cornerback Andre Jordan Jr. And one under the radar, I read this in a couple articles from Arkansas State defensive tackle Cody Sigler. They're saying is an excellent pickup and to keep an eye on him. I have no idea who that dude is, but apparently he's legit. So we shall see. And while there's not a lot of returning starters here, there is a lot of returning production, and they did keep DJ Durkin, which I think is going to help immensely. Because I mean, let's remember, and I can speak from experience because I watched Auburn quite a bit last year. Defense, not the problem here. Okay, their offense was awful. They lost 7 games. All of them were by 10 points or less. 6 of those 7 were by 7 points or less. So defense, not the issue here. So if they can even maintain that level of defense, how can you not expect a gigantic improvement on offense? This schedule, it gave me a little
at best.
It's tough. I mean, I think they're going to sweep their non-conference. I know Baylor's at a neutral site, but I think that's in Auburn's home state. So I think they're going to sweep that. I think they can beat Florida. They can beat Vanderbilt. They can beat Arkansas. That's 6. So between LSU at home and then that road slate, probably Mississippi State is going to be that 7th one that you're going to get because they look kind of bad this year. Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Alabama. Yeah, good luck there. I mean, I guess it depends. Tennessee's early on. Depends what quarterback they go with and how that person's doing. But I mean, I didn't bet this, but I've got my notes. I lean to the over here. I mean, how can you not? I mean, they won 5 games with no offense. I mean, now they've got it. They can easily pick up 2 more here. I lean the over.
I was leaning the under, just looking at the schedule. I mean, even with the schedule, like no Oklahoma, I don't see Texas, I don't see A&M on there. I can totally see them like starting 4-0, and that's generous. I think Florida's going to be really better than expected this year. But being generous just because they got them at home and then just losing the table from there on out, except for Samford. So I can just totally see that happening. I think a lot of under bets are going to hit in this conference in general, just because there's 18 teams, and a lot of them are very, very good. So they got all the top teams from the old Big 12 and whatnot. But yeah, I was actually leaning the under here. I can see them maybe being 6-6. And
I have a question before we turn it over to Pete. So you said you're being generous with 4-0, and you look at that schedule. Where are they losing with Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Samford? They're not losing any. They're not losing any of those. So that's 7 right there. If you're being generous.
Well, I was being like they could probably lose 2 of those games in the first 4.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, maybe because Baylor could get. I mean, it's in Atlanta. It's in their backyard. Okay, fine. But Florida's going to be a tough game, and who knows? I mean, I haven't looked at Vanderbilt yet.
All right, I was just going off your 4-0 generousness, and I was just like, wait a minute. I know we all went to the same terrible high school, but 4 + 3 is 7, which last night
I'm seeing 4-0 is generous. So even if it's 3-1, and then they win those other 3, they're 6. It's 6.5.
All right, that's fair.
So I mean, that's just generous. I mean, I don't think they're going to be 4-0. I'm thinking at best 3-1 with the loss to Florida. I mean, Southern Miss is a gimme. I mean, they're going to be ass.
Again, one more counterpoint to that before we go to Pete. Didn't South Florida go into Florida last year and win?
They did.
All right.
Just different program, different coach in Florida now. Different. I mean, that's
like
not.
I said.
I'm just saying.
If it were any other team, I would love the Summerall hiring, but I hate it because I think he was the best coach out there, and he went to the effing Gators. So, Pete, move on before I get depressed.
Oh, Pete, Florida State guy backing Florida. Now I've seen everything.
Oh, I mean, we've seen it all now. I don't know. I mean, if he starts cheering for Miami, I'm out. I don't know.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Not enough beer in Milwaukee for me to root for Miami. It's just not enough.
All right, Pete, talk about the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, I think that win-loss line is right on the money. 6.5. I see 6-7 wins here. That's kind of where 6-7, right? That's definitely what I see. I mean,
my kids are going crazy. I can hear them.
I know. It fits here, right? So yeah, that Baylor game could be a win for sure. In their home state. Southern Miss probably a win. Florida, I don't know. Florida, Vanderbilt, I say they're both a toss-up, so they win one of the 2, maybe. I don't think they're going to be Tennessee. Georgia is not going to be. They're not going to be Georgia. They're not going to be LSU. Ole Miss, I don't know. Probably, and we just talked about Arkansas. They should, but that could be a toss-up. Mississippi State, they should win. Samford, they should win. So what is that? 7. That's kind of, I think, where they land. They have some tough road games. I mean, beating Tennessee, Georgia, LSU, Arkansas. Sorry, LSU. So I messed it up. Hold on. No, sorry. So we try that again with the right ones. Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Bama. Okay, so maybe Mississippi State, they're not winning those other games, right? Those are just tough road games. So I think they've been, even though they're not hitting Oklahoma, they're not getting Texas, they're not getting some of those other teams, this is a tough schedule. That road schedule is tough. So if they're going to be a good team and you're going to be high on them and think they're going to do something, they need to find a way to win in Tennessee. They got to win that Mississippi State game. And, they got to be competitive with Bama, which they will be, because that's always, fun. So if they can win that game, then sure, then you got something. That's my thought.
I mean, the juice isn't super high on the over because, like you said, that schedule is pretty tough. But, dude, I just watched a lot of Auburn to just be like, God, if this team had an offense, you know what I mean? And now they do. So get anything out of your offensive line so Byron Brown can have similar stats from 2025. Brett, fuck it. I'm with Marty, man. I'm excited too.
Well, now we can listen to Tim wax poetically about Florida.
Oh, he loves him some Florida.
Yeah. Here we go. The bad guys plus 2250 to win the conference. 7.5 wins is the over/under. For the Florida Gators, Darren, let's keep it going. Start with you.
Yeah, if you're as high on Florida as Tim is, you can get 25-1 at DraftKings. So if you want to potentially make a little more money on a Florida bet and you're a DraftKings guy, go over there. 4-8 last year, 2-6 in the conference. Tim had already mentioned new head coach John Summerall. Nice hire, offense coordinator Buster Faulkner from Georgia Tech. That was an excellent pickup. And Brad White, Kentucky's defense coordinator, comes over to be the DC here. That's 7.5 wins, heavily juiced to the under. So it looks like, again, these schedule makers didn't do Florida any favors here. All right, so let's look at the offense. We've already said this a bunch of times already in the few teams we talked about. Hey, there's another QB battle here. Trammell Jones Jr., who played a little bit last year. Aaron Philo, the Georgia Tech backup, who I would believe has the edge just because of his experience playing for Buster Faulkner, but that hasn't been official yet. And we all talk about Georgia Tech running the ball with Haynes King and all that. And they were 12th in total offense last year. So this dude knows how to run an offense. Their 1,100-yard rusher, Jaden Baugh, along with his 8 TDs, is back. Love that. Glad he stayed. I think he could be possibly, depending on what's going on with Ahmad Hardy, one of the best backs in the conference this year. Their leading wide receiver, Vernell Brown III, is back. Dallas Wilson and Eric Singleton from Auburn comes over. We talked about him a little earlier. I remember Eric Singleton also had 2 years at Georgia Tech with Faulkner before he went to Auburn. So, skill positions look really, really good. Offensive line has 2 starters coming back. And again, nowhere to go but up here. Nobody scored fewer points in the conference than Florida. But I think this is going to change. Pete, what do you think about this offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think, first of all, love the coach. As Tim said, great hire, great offensive coordinator hire, as you said, Darren. I mean, I think that this is a team that perennially is a good team, and I expect them to go back on that trajectory again here. So overall, long-term, very positive. This year, I don't know, right? I think there's a lot of questions here, right? Obviously, with a new coach, there's going to be a lot of questions anyway, but Trammell Jones, a lot of upside there. So I think could be quite interesting. He does have deep ball ability, which I like to see, some pocket feel. I think there's leadership there. So I think that will, move in a direction that I think will be positive at the quarterback position. Not elite, but I think they could have a very serviceable plus quarterback there, which is good. Running backs, I think, certainly you've got some really good running backs here. So I think that is maybe their strongest unit on the offensive side. My concern, again, is with this line. Right, that to me is the largest non-quarterback concern here. So QB is my number one concern on the offense. The line is second, right? And I think you had some veteran pieces that departed, right? Brought in some other players, Ugorji and Boyer to stabilize the unit, which I think is a good thing. I think there's familiarity with kind of this Faulkner structure, which could help at center. So I think you might see something positive there. By the way, they have a really good, strong offensive line coach, which I think they need. So I think, this has been a weakness. Last year was a bit of a weakness. I think it will transform. The question is how fast, right? Does it take a week or two? Does it take 4 weeks? What does it take for this offensive line to gel? But that's going to be key. And obviously quarterback number one, because we're not sure where that's going to go. Although from my just personal perspective, I think the quarterback has much more upside than the offensive line here. We'll see how that plays itself out. Defensive side, really quick. The front is Florida's defensive strength, without question. So controlling that line, being tough up front. We've got Miles Graham anchoring the linebacker room. He's got range, good coverage potential, blitz ability. So, I think one of the issues that was apparent last year was tackling, right? I think it was 2 years ago, and the wheels came off Florida State. Every week we got on here, Tim was talking about how Florida State defense was not tackling, right? Especially in the back end, the secondary, people were not tackling. That was an issue here with this team as well. That's got to get corrected with a new defensive coordinator. I would expect that would get corrected, but that's got to get corrected. To me, that's their biggest issue on the defensive side of the ball. But yeah, I think they're a mid-tier team here in the SEC that, could bite up. And that's the way I look at this team. Like they're 7 wins, something like that, 8 wins, I don't know. But yeah, they're kind of a mid-tier plus team. That's my thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, defensively, I believe this unit is number 1 in the country as far as returning production goes. Problem with that is they were 14th in the conference in stopping the run. And Marty chimed in with another comment saying that Auburn can beat Florida. And yeah, I agree with him. You know why? Because Auburn's got 2 running backs and a quarterback that can run the ball. And like I just said, Florida can't stop it. So, and again, new defensive coordinator, that takes some time, because now these guys got to learn. They have all this production coming back, but they're used to a certain system. Now they got to get used to a whole other system again. The secondary, though, was really young. So I think it was good that they got to play. A lot of them got hurt last year. So we'll have to see if those guys can come back and be 100%. But yeah, a lot of freshmen in that secondary here. Dijon Johnson coming off an injury. He missed most of the season. Bryce Thornton, who was second in tackles. He's kind of really like the only thing I would rely on as far as his secondary goes. So even with all this returning production, the new defensive coordinator is always a touch worrisome. This defense statistically outside of stop the run really wasn't terrible. But again, you got the quarterback issues. You don't know if this defense can stop the run. This schedule that Tim's got up there, I mean, that we said the juice at DraftKings under 7.5 is heavily juiced. I mean, say what you want about Florida State, but that's like a huge rivalry. That's a road game for Florida. I'm not going to sit here and say Florida's going to win that game. The home games, they're one of the teams with only 4, but it's Ole Miss and Oklahoma are 2 of them. South Carolina, supposedly with a happy Lenora Sellers, that could be a tough one. And then you go on the road, Auburn, who I already think that's a loss. Missouri, Texas. I mean, you'll probably beat Kentucky, but then that neutral game against Georgia, I don't think they're taking that one. So this, they'll win those other 2 non-conference games, Florida Atlantic and Campbell. But yeah, I don't see 8 wins here. But this juice is just too ridiculous for me to bet on it. But yeah, I lean the under here. Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, I was leaning the under as well. I'd be remiss without mentioning Pete was talking about if the offensive line can gel. 2 work buddies, her son and his nephew, Austin Barber, starting left tackle for the Gators last year. He's now playing for the Cleveland Browns. He was drafted in the 3rd round, so way to go, kid. It's a good kid. He went to Florida, but nobody's perfect. What can you say? But
dude, he went to Cleveland. I'd have rather stayed in Florida. I'd have sued the NCAA for another year of eligibility.
I was texting with his uncle, and I was like, "Hey, my Rams need some offensive line help." And he actually texted back that the Rams were talking to him. And the Browns actually traded like 3 or 4 picks to move up in front of the Rams, and they took them. I was like, damn, it was so close. But anyway, yeah, the line does need to gel. I think the over-under bet hinges on that Auburn game. I think if they can win that one, it might good. I mean, they could probably take Missouri, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. I mean, I don't know what to think of Florida State. I'm hoping, you listen to all the podcasters and bloggers for Locked On and at Florida State, it's all doom and gloom there, but I'm hoping they're all wrong and that's a better game. Hopefully we can win that one. But yeah, I am leaning the under, but it'll be really interesting if they start out 3-0 against Auburn, I think, and they start rolling a little bit. We'll see what Summerall can do. That Singleton wide receiver, when he went there, I was like, oh crap, because he could be an outstanding receiver. Well, he is an outstanding receiver, but he'd be one of the best probably in the SEC this year. I think he's that good. He's just been buried on Georgia Tech. And but yeah, I'm leaning the under as well, but not enough. It's going to hinge on that Auburn game. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, I guess to answer the direct question, I mean, the Auburn game, I mean, that's an Auburn home game. They should beat Florida, right? I mean, that I would expect as an Auburn fan that they should win that game. Now, that said, with Florida, tough schedule. The under looks enticing, at 7.5. Under that looks enticing because I can maybe count 5. I'm not even going to say for sure, but wins that I feel somewhat comfortable with. To get to 7 is a bit of a climb. So my logical brain is telling me that this is a really good underplay. The issue for me is Summerall. I'm not betting against him with his first year here. He's an excellent coach. Yes, I mean, an immediate 4-game, win improvement is probably asking a lot, but this is, as Tim said, probably the best coach that was available in the offseason last year. He's here. He's here for a reason. So as much as I think the under is enticing, and it is enticing, I wouldn't blame anybody for betting it. I personally am not betting against Summerall on his first year there. I just think there's too much potential of what he could do because there's talent on both sides of the ball. This is Florida. This is another team that draws talent. The guy's got talent to work with. I'm not betting against that in year one when I haven't seen anything happen on the field yet. So for that reason, I'm out.
All right. Any final thoughts, Darren?
No. They're going to beat Auburn. Lies. They're not beating Auburn. Stop your nonsense.
All right. It's time for the hot topic.
Do me a favor. Just leave that slide up until we all go through the defense and the offense.
All right.
We're going to start defense here, and then Pete and I are going to have a discussion.
We got the Georgia Bulldogs plus 275 to win the SEC. The over-under win total is 9.5 wins. I think we're going to start with the defense here. Pete, you want to go first with the Georgia defense?
Yes, I do. So I mentioned it earlier when we were talking about Bama, right? What does Georgia do? They control both sides of the ball on the line, right? They beat you up on the line, and that allows all kinds of other things to happen, but it grinds you down, right? This front seven remains the core of a championship floor. This is a team that has an elite front seven. They can rotate linemen, linebackers through that are physical, that are very highly recruited, right? They have extreme depth in this area. So this defense is going to be good, right? And the front's value protects the offense, right? At the end of the day, that Georgia doesn't need to chase points, which we'll talk about when I talk about the offense in a little bit here. Generally, Georgia doesn't need to chase points, right? Because this defense is that good. This front seven is that good where they grind you down, they keep a close game, they don't have to chase, right? So so I wouldn't expect that to change. Secondary is very experienced, athletic, and supported by one of the best pass rush structures that exists. So, that makes this team on the defensive side just championship level. So those are my thoughts on the defense. I'll stop and let Darren go because we have to have a discussion.
Here we go.
Well, because Tim's going to chime in here too because we're all pro Bulldog apparently tonight. Defensively, everything you said, 1,000% agree. This defense is ridiculous. Name to watch: Chase Linton. I know they had trouble sacking the quarterback last year. I think that changes. I think he's going to lead this team in sacks. He's coming off a ridiculous spring. But yeah, most of everything Pete said, yeah, I agree with. The linebacker room is experienced and deep. Same thing with that secondary. There is nothing I hate about this defense at all. There's really nothing I can find to knock it. I love what this team is going to put out. Yeah, the days where they have 15 people drafted into the NFL after every season are gone. But this is still going to be one of, if not the top defense in the conference this year. Nothing I hate about this defense. Tim, you want to just do the whole team, or you split your thoughts up? But floor is yours,
I've got my bet, and I know why I'm betting it. I don't know if you want me to give out my play before you guys have. No,
you just review the team. Tell us why you love some Georgia Bulldog.
Death, taxes, and a Kirby Smart-led Georgia team winning 10 games. I mean, I think they didn't win 10 games his first year, and that seemed like, 2015, 2016? I don't know when the hell he took over, but, being, I guess, Nick Saban's number one Padawan, if you will, he seems to be the most effective coach here. They do have one of the few returning quarterbacks in this conference. I want to pull up their schedule, but I can't yet. So I'm looking at this thing.
Not yet, my friend.
At the very least, they're going to win 10 games. It is kind of like a Floyd Mayweather bet. I think it was at minus 160 is what I got it there. So I did put 3 units on the over. I was going to load up and put some more if we didn't have 3 more episodes to go before the season started. So just to make sure, I just think that's the most sure bet. They've got the defense. They've got the quarterback. They've got the coach. They're very consistent. They just come at you and they win. You don't like it, they don't care. And that's the way Georgia's, that's their MO. So I'll leave it at that. I think it's the safest bet is that they're going to win more than 9.5 games. So that's my safe bet. So lock it in. I did 3 units on that. I wanted to do 6 or 7 maybe, but yeah. So I just did 3 on the over of 9.5 wins. And back to you guys.
All right, Tim, don't put up that graphic yet.
I'm not.
Must
You're
give my
about
quick.
to go.
I'm gonna
You're
give
about
my
to
quick
go
spiel on the
pricing on us here.
No,
Hey, for all you
no.
people out there, I have not seen the next slide yet.
No,
so I
you
have
have
no idea
not.
what he's going to throw.
Tim had. I'm just going to talk about this offense real quick. I'm going to let Tim know when I would like to have that slide up, and then Pete, much like a legal case, you have time for a rebuttal.
Thank you.
Yeah, offensively, much like the defense, I hate nothing about this team other than the wide receiver group. I have no idea who's going to emerge as wide receiver 1, but that's the only issue I have here. Now, to counteract that, they have an insane tight end group. Lawson Lucky, Elias Williams, and Caden Prothrow. They're probably going to be used a lot, especially early on while we try and figure out who the hell is going to catch passes at the wide receiver position for this team. But at least that tight end group is deep. The running back, it took a little bit of a hit. Kentucky transfer Dante Dowdell got himself in an ATV accident. However, Nate Frazier's back. Chauncey Bowens is back. Dwight Phillips is also back. So again, we don't like to see any injuries, but if you're going to have one on Georgia, have it be in the running back room. Now, this offensive line, super young. They started 2 freshmen last year, so just another year of experience for that whole group. They look excellent. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Georgia Tech transfer, Isaiah Canyon. He'll probably be wide receiver 1 by default. So that's really the only question I have about this offense. Now, before we get into Gunner, Tim, go ahead and put that up for me if you would.
Here we go. I get to see it.
Can I do it?
We all talk about these first-year quarterbacks who, do well against the crap teams and struggle against the good teams, and we expect to see something their second year.
This is what you're bringing?
So hold on. Let me explain it, because I know you can't read because you went to Mahonison.
I cannot argue that.
Well, we all did, so I can't either. Why do you think I had ChatGPT help me put this together? But let's remember, it was his first year last year, too. Okay, he played half a game in the SEC championship 2 years ago, almost got decapitated against Texas, had an offensive lineman literally pick up his head, put it back on, and then he won that game. And then his first career start was Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. You can't tell me that you're going to get a lot of what this kid can do in that as his first career start. But here, his first full year last year, and let me read this chart for you, Pete. So he played 7 games against ranked opponents last year. Can you look at that touchdown to interception ratio? 16 TDs, only 2 interceptions against ranked teams, against SEC defenses. And just to prove the point why I'm pro Gunner, I put some of your other top QBs from the conference last year. I don't think you'll argue that these guys are all shitty QBs. So let's start with Diego, who just got cut by the Ravens today. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Also,
what a tragedy that is.
Yeah, really. Also had 7 games against ranked opponents. Didn't even sniff the amount of touchdowns that Gunner had, but he sure threw almost 3 times the interceptions. Trinidad, Arch, probably the 2 best quarterbacks in the conference. 6 games against ranked opponents, combined to throw as many touchdowns in those games as Gunner Stockton. Again, interceptions nice and low, so that's good. But yeah, they're not lighting up these defenses. And Tim's boy, Marcel Reed, who will be featured in the thumbnail for the live stream next week. Only 5 games against ranked opponents, 6 touchdowns, 7 picks. So, Pete, I don't expect you to change your mind and all of a sudden buy a Gunner Stockton jersey. But I'm just saying, my bet with this team, how can you not feel confident with this? I mean, this is a team that had possession over 33 minutes a game last year. Gunner does not need to throw for 380 and 4 touchdowns every game. But still, averaging over 2 touchdowns against a ranked opponent, I mean, come on, man. Just tell me you're impressed with the stat. Just tell me you're impressed with the stat. Because that's a decent stat.
I'm impressed, but I have questions.
That's fair.
How many of those were over 15 yards? Probably very few, right? So So the only reason this discussion is even relevant is because Georgia probably has to combine, other than the wide receivers, which I agree with, best units on both sides of the ball, period. Right? This is a powerhouse team that should be playing for a national championship. They should be. Why they won't be is Gunner, right? He is not championship caliber. He's not an NFL quarterback. He's not going to be that either, right? I mean, he is what he needs to be. Take him off this team and put Arch on it. This team is a whole different team. You're talking national championship all day. They would be the most likely winner. I mean, the issue is Gunner's fine. He's fine. I think that stat is good, but I think it's a little skewed because I want more data behind it. Because the biggest issue is Gunner. And I'm not criticizing because I think he did quite well, especially first time starter, first year, all of that. You know, he is not a spectacular quarterback, but he's a very dependable, and he can be a dependable quarterback. But that's what he needs to be. He needs to be the dependable version of himself all year long. And my biggest concern with Gunner, right? Because I have 3 pages on it that I'm not going to read to you because we don't have all night, right? But literally 3 pages on Gunner in front of me here. I did a lot of depth. And I looked at passing charts and I looked at all kinds of happy stuff. The biggest issue with Gunner, which is why I asked the question about those touchdowns, is he doesn't throw the ball downfield. They don't extend the field, which is fine when you are dominating the line against 7 or 8 of the teams you're going to play this year, because you're going to beat them anyway. You could have Darren standing back there at quarterback, and they're going to beat them anyway, right? When it comes down to your quarterback,
I can't throw the deep ball either. So
right, exactly. So you're fine. You could be Gunner. You'll be fine, right? Because he can't either. And I think that's the issue is going to come to fruition more than likely with Gunner when they are down against a good team and they don't have a lot of time and they've got to move the ball quick down the field. Not his strength. Going to be a problem. They will run into that in the playoff because they'll be in the playoff and they're going to run into that against somebody. And I think that's where he will get exposed. He would get exposed. He plays a Tom Brady type of game. He's more mobile than Tom was, but he plays a pseudo Tom Brady type of game, right? That's good. That's fine as long as your team is a super team or dang near it that this team is. But injuries, playing Texas, somebody like that who can fire the ball around, now you've got to keep up with that. That's a problem, right? So I don't have an issue with Gunner, except I don't think he's the guy that's going to take you to the championship by himself. He can sit back there. He can operate the system. As long as the rest of the team is doing what they do, sure, they could probably win a national championship. But if Gunner has to do something, this is not like Indiana last year. Like when that guy had to do something, that guy did something, right? He would throw the ball down the field. He is not that. And I think that is my biggest issue with him, which is why I think this team's going to be great. They'll probably win the conference. But what happens after that? What happens in the playoff? I think Gunner will get exposed at some point because he just can't compete, especially if Texas does what I think they're going to do this time, because they've been getting beat up by Georgia for a couple years now. I've been beating up Sark for a couple years now. For anybody who listens to this game, I beat up Sark all the time for that. I think he's going to have something up his sleeve finally to really score some points on this team. And if Texas scores points on this team, I don't think Georgia can keep up. So that's my issue with the team and with Gunner. Otherwise, I mean, he's a perfectly serviceable, Trent Dilfer-like quarterback.
All right, I have some questions for you.
Yes, sir.
So we are in agreement that Gunner is good but not elite, correct?
Yeah.
Are we in agreement that Georgia has multiple running backs that can help control a game, correct?
Absolutely. I've already said the team itself is elite. I mean, it's not – he's the weak link.
All right. We're also agreeing that there's no real stud wide receiver on this team, correct?
So it's not a problem that he can't throw it down the field because nobody's going to be down the field. So
we're also agreeing that this is an excellent defense, correct?
Yeah. So they're going to run the ball, throw it to the tight ends, 5 and out, 7 and up, quick slants. That's what they're going to do, and that's how they win games.
So I just described 2023 Michigan.
You did, except we had a better quarterback. We had a better quarterback.
Yeah, he's currently not.
I don't care. I don't care. At least
he lost his job to 5'4" Kyler Murray. But I don't have them winning the national championship.
For what? He's been in the league for what? 4 years. This guy's never going to sniff the league. This guy's going to get drafted and never.
I think he is
the field. He'll never play. Never play. I bet you right now he'll never play.
He doesn't need to play. I don't need him to play. He doesn't
But
need
I'm
to win the
saying-
national championship. I didn't bet him to win the national championship.
But you brought up JJ. I'm just saying JJ played in the
just
NFL
saying,
as a starter. This
you
guy
had
never
mentioned-
will.
You had mentioned that these guys can't win the national championship. They basically have all the similarities of 2025 or 2023 Michigan, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's the same
Michigan, lucky for them, ended up playing a lot of teams that were trying to be physical with them and all of that. I think if Michigan had run into a fire, kind of down the field type of team, I mean, that defense was awesome. So, I mean, as this one might be too. So, yeah, I mean, it may not be an issue if the Georgia defense can keep everything under control, which they probably will. So we'll never see the problem, but that doesn't mean the problem's not there. Okay.
All right. Tim, do you have anything to add?
Well, don't forget the Connor Stallions for 23 Michigan. But anyway, looking at this chart,
I didn't go there. As far as we know, nobody's cheating for Georgia.
maybe that's why JJ McCarthy's in the league.
As long as nobody on Georgia gets behind the wheel, this should be a fun season.
There we go. Looking at this chart, first of all, how dare you desecrate my precious Marcel Reed like that?
I don't need to. His play desecrated it for him.
How dare you?
No, I mean, I watched a little bit of the SEC Media Day, and Gunnar was up on the podium, and the way he was talking, I just remember looking at him thinking, yeah, he looks like a starting quarterback. I always tie everything back to, FSU in some kind of way. He's going to probably play kind of like Chris Winkie did, I think. I think they're going to have similar things. Again, both on a team with, a good running game, decent offensive line, great defense. I think Gunnar Stockton's going to be a lot better because he has a whole year now under his belt.
Exactly.
And
you would expect improvement from year 1 to year 2.
So can I move off of the desecration slide of Marcel Reed?
You can move on.
To the schedule? So here's her schedule. Like I said, I think they can get 10 wins here. I mean, Georgia Tech, South Carolina, Missouri. They can beat Ole Miss. They'll probably losing. They're maybe
Bama? Maybe Bama?
Maybe Bama. Maybe home against Oklahoma.
And maybe on the road at Ole Miss.
Yeah, because I'm high on Oklahoma. I could see that. That'll be a good game.
I could too. That's going to be an excellent game.
No, I think they beat Ole Miss.
I
agree with that.
I'm not high on Ole Miss. So that's 10 at worst.
10 and 2.
Yeah, I mean the baseline here is 10 and 2. I mean, looking at this, I mean, as good as Summerall as we all think he is, first year, that's a tall order. Yeah. So it's going to be in Atlanta this year too, and that's not going to be in Jacksonville because they're redoing the stadium. So so that'll be essentially a home game for them. I think where's it next year? Is it in Orlando next year? I believe the
I don't remember. I think so. Yeah.
God, the downtown Jacksonville is going to be a mess the next couple of years. They're actually having Jaguar games while they're rebuilding the stadium. But that's another topic for a different show. So let's go on to here's my pick. We got minus 160. I thought I did 3 units. I did do 3. I put in 2. I did do 3. So other than that, but I got 9.5. And Darren, I believe you have a bet here as well.
Yeah, FanDuel started this thing with some rewards going on. So I took a little bit of a 20% profit boost with my half unit play here. So I got like plus 384 on Georgia to win the conference.
Nice.
So they're like around 320, I think is the best you can find. But if you're a FanDuel user and you got yourself a little profit boost and don't throw a crap ton on these conference winners like I do, that profit boost might work for you. So half unit, almost 4-1 on Georgia, and I like that one a lot.
Yeah, they're plus 300. Plus 300 today.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're already down.
Always sends me these profit boosts, but they're always for like, minor league baseball, women's ping pong, and like there's never like a college football. I mean, hopefully they start up soon. I'd like to get some.
No, they'll be coming. They'll be coming.
Yeah. They better be. So, all right. Well, again, from one extreme to the other, we got Kentucky, new coach. They're at plus 15,000 to win the conference. The over and the win total 4.5 this time. Darren, back to you with the Wildcats.
Yeah, coming off a 5-7 year, 2-6 in the conference. Will Stein, who everybody loves. I'll get into why I'm not a huge fan shortly here. LSU's offensive coordinator, Joe Sloan, comes over, and the new DC is Texas A&M. Old DC, Jay Bateman. You got plus 14,000 at DraftKings. Win total 4.5. Juice to the over, which I will get into why I don't understand. All right, but let's look at the offense first. Kenny Minchie. How can you not love a team with a Notre Dame quarterback that comes over? But again, this offense doesn't bring back a ton of production. They only managed 23 points a game last year, which was outside the top 100 in the country. They do say Minchie's picked up what Will Stein tries to do with his quarterbacks. Let's remember, this is a guy who had success with Dylan Gabriel, Bo Nix, Dante Moore. Will Kenny Minchie follow? That remains to be seen. So I kind of like this running back duo, provided they can stay on the field. You got Texas transfer CJ Baxter, Oklahoma transfer Javonte Brown. They'll be replacing Seth McGowan, who went to the pros, and Dante Dowdell, who got hurt on an ATV while he went to Georgia. Only 2 returning wide receivers last year that they have combined for only 14 catches. So that could be an issue. Nick Anderson, he's formerly highly loved from LSU. So they brought in a lot of wide receivers from the transfer portal here. Returning tight end Willie Rodriguez, who's actually the only returning starter on the offense, is back, and the offensive line is going to replace all 5 guys. They did bring in some experienced transfers here. So the problem here, new quarterback. Yeah, you've got Anderson, Barnes, Baxter. Can any of these guys stay healthy? They all have an injury history. Yeah. I am not a fan of this offense. Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit on a lot. First thing I want to say, though, I know you're not a huge Will Stein guy, but I really like this coaching staff as a whole. Stein, Sloan, and Bateman together. I think for this team, that's a pretty good coaching staff, right? So I think, are they going to be record better than last year? Maybe a little. I don't know. Maybe. I think they'll be more entertaining if they stay healthy, right? And you nailed it, Darren. I mean, you look down the skill positions and all this, and these are people that have not stayed healthy. So I don't know why we'd expect anything different. Minchie should be interesting. He's got arm talent, mobility, and obviously he's coming from ND, so he, has that major program experience. So this should be not a problem for him from that perspective. But he's got tests as well, right? Full field processing, disguised pressures, third time decision making. We've not seen this out of him, so he may be fine. We'll have to see how that plays out. But I think it's going to be an issue, as Darren noted, because I think with the skilled people that they have here, with the injury history, I couldn't bet on it not happening again. I just spent too many years as a Colts fan with players that keep getting injured that I fully expected again would suddenly play again, and they just didn't because they keep getting hurt. So that's a little concern here, I think. So I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but I don't think it'll play out favorably. I think the offensive line is better on paper than last year. We'll have to see what it turns into, but it's better on paper, so we'll see how that goes. Defensive side of the ball, a lot of transfers, right? So large group of transfers coming in the front. They have the size, they have rotation potential. We'll see what that turns into with this many new players, with new coaching and all of that. Continuity, of course, is a challenge. I think linebacker is a big concern. So we'll see how that plays out. So I'm not really high on this team this year. I do think that they've made some of the right hires. So I think they might be trending in the right direction. And if some people stay healthy, they might be interesting to watch this year. They might be fun. Who knows? They could step up and beat somebody they shouldn't, maybe, if people are healthy. But, yeah, I think it would be a long year as a fan here.
Yeah, defensively, you touched on pretty much everything I had in my notes. The only thing I'll add here, there are at least a couple nice pieces coming back along the line. McKees Humphrey-Grace, who tied for the team lead in sacks, returns. In the secondary, Ty Bryant returns. He led the team in tackles and picks. So there's at least a couple nice pieces there. A lot of positive things coming out about Hassan Sykes, a Western Carolina transfer. So we'll see how he does. But this schedule, man. So first of all, Will Stein, you egomaniac, why'd you have to be the big fixture in the schedule? We don't really care what you look like. Right. But if you look at this schedule, all right, non-conference, I'm going to give you Youngstown State and South Alabama. I don't think you're beating Louisville. So I'm gonna give you 2 from your non-conference slate. But can we look at this road slate and tell me, do you guys see a win here? A&M, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Missouri. I mean, maybe Tennessee, depending on what they look like. Maybe. But apparently they got a quarterback who's not supposed to be the starter, but might be, who supposedly is quite the athlete. So I don't even know we all know Tennessee's a tough place to play. Yes. When you have an offense that looks like it could be bad, I don't know if you win any road games. And then 2 of your 4 home games are Alabama and LSU. So you would need to beat Vanderbilt and Florida to even get to 4. So I don't know why this is juiced to over 4.5 here. Tim, is there something there that I'm not seeing, or is my bet already in the shitter?
No, I think I was leaning under. I'll put your slide up here. Yeah, I don't know. Looked at that schedule. Yeesh. It's kind of like I was actually leaning under myself. I feel like we're at the track. You look at the betting form. It's like I can make a case for every team and every horse in this race, and for these over-unders, you can make a case for every team to have at least a bet for every team in this conference. I was totally leaning under as well for this one. I think they win 4 at the most, just looking at the schedule. But who knows? Maybe they do rise up and beat South Carolina. Maybe they beat Louisville at the end. That's always a tough game there.
I'm going to say maybe they beat Vanderbilt because guess who's going to be there?
The 3 of us.
The 3 of us.
That's right.
Bringing luck to the home team.
I have zero issue rooting for a former Notre Dame QB to beat Vanderbilt. As a matter of fact, when I made this bet, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be one of their wins. But when I told it up, I still didn't get to 5. So I'll take that plus money. Yeah, I do have 1 unit on the under 4.5 here for Kentucky. Pete, what do you think? Are we nuts, or you like? Yeah, you can see that.
No, I can see that. I mean, the under bet's a good bet. I mean, looking at the schedule, I see maybe 3 wins. I don't even know how they're getting to 4. So, yeah, I mean, that's once again another bet. You got some money in your hands. You wanna make a bet. This is an excellent bet. Follow Darren. It's a fantastic one.
Yeah. Guys, I just wish there was a team in this conference that had something in the offseason happen that we can talk about, like a new coach.
I know it's so boring so far.
I mean, it's literally a boring conference. Oh, look at this, LSU.
Oh, that Lane guy, I think, right?
850, yes. The new Ayatollah. 850, 8.5 wins total for the over-under. Interesting offseason, as we all know. I guess Lane Kiffin is off social media now. I guess he was talking about that the other day. We'll see how long that lasts, because you need that for recruiting, I believe. So, Darren, let's kick it off here.
Yeah, as if you guys checked out our national championship show, we don't really touch on the reasons here, but Pete and I do have bets on LSU to win the national championship. So if you want to hear the reason why we're idiots and bet that, go back and check out that video. But yeah, we're both riding the Lane train, sitting in a club car and waiting for the snacks to be distributed. Yeah, right. So yeah, plus 850 at Hard Rock, 9-1 on DraftKings, win total 8.5, slightly juiced to the over here. I mean, just start offensively. You're bringing in over 40 players here. But again, this is all going to come down to, is Sam Leavitt healthy? Can this offensive line improve? They couldn't run the ball either, much like Alabama, but they had so many issues offensively. 126 in rush yards per game, 99th in sacks allowed. I don't care if Sam Leavitt's healthy or not. If that offensive line doesn't improve, it's going to be a long season down there. But again, a lot of huge transfers here, both sides of the ball. Offensively, you already mentioned Leavitt. The running back tandem returns. Statistically, they weren't very good, but again, neither was this offensive line or this offense as a whole. The big offensive line pickup in the portal, Jordan Seaton from Colorado, joins in a line that's returning 2 starters, so I think you'll see improvement there. The receiving core is what I love here. If you watched any K-State last year, you know who Jace Brown is. He's ridiculous. Pete, you're a Hawaii guy. I know you know who Jackson Harris is. And if you watch any ODU, you know who Trey Brown III is. And all 3 of those guys are now Tigers, and they all led their respective programs last year in receiving. So I love what this receiving group is bringing. Eugene Wilson from Florida also joins this group. And, dude, I don't know if you saw Trey'Dez Green at Media Day today. This dude's like 8'10", already had 7 receiving touchdowns on a horrible offense last year. This dude is going to be ridiculous. Again, the only thing offensively with all these new pieces, how quickly does it gel? And in a few minutes, we'll get to the schedule and you'll see why it needs to gel really quick, because that September's not pretty. But yeah, Pete, I know you're with me on the national championship aspirations here. Are you as high on this offense as I am?
I am. I think you covered it pretty thoroughly here. I mean, we are on the Lane train for sure. This is a team that's not going through the typical first-year transition. They're not viewing it like that at all. right? This is fire the beast up and go after a championship. That's what they're looking to do here. They've got a ton of talent, lots of turnover, which is no surprise. Lane's guys in here. Obviously, Levitt is going to be critical key factor for this team. If he's healthy, man, it's going to be, I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch this team if he's healthy. So I'm hoping he is healthy. I truly believe that this team, especially on the offensive side, is just tremendous. It's Lane Kiffin, right? I mean, there's very few people in college football who have an offensive mind and architecture like he does. So, you would expect this team to be just lights out on the offensive side. That's what I expect as long as Levitt stays healthy, which hopefully he does. Running backs, yeah, right. Receivers you touched on, just some incredible talent at that position. So, yeah, I mean, I think to me, one of the little things is the offensive line. So Jordan Seaton coming in and protecting Levitt's blind side is a big deal, right? Because this was an issue last year. I think, obviously Levitt wasn't there, but this was an issue for the team last year. I think that's a big deal. I think that will change a lot for this team with that protection as long as he stays healthy. So, yeah, I love this offense and what it could be. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm looking forward to watching a lot of LSU this year. Defensive side of the ball, I really with this team, I'm looking for weaknesses. In a way, it's like Georgia when we talked about Gunner, and I just pointed out that I like Gunner, but to me, that's a weakness. For this team, I'm looking for the same. Like, where are the weaknesses? I think you hit on one, cohesion. You've got so many new players coming in. They've got to gel together very quickly. When we look at the schedule here in a minute, they need to gel together very quickly, right? So will that happen? I don't know. I mean, Lane kind of wills some of these things to happen. So will we see that happen? I really don't know. But that's got to happen. So that maybe is the primary weakness I see. Outside of that, I mean, everything else is probably an A, B+ level for talked about quarterback, offensive line, defensive front. There's nothing else that really sticks out as a big issue. So I think it's just, turnover, cohesion, even though they're not treating it as a whole new staff, whole new turn, it is for reality, right? So that always, that quite often provides some challenges that you don't expect. So we'll see what comes out of that. But yeah, I mean, with talent, with the coaching staff, with the quarterback, with all of that, this is a team that should be making a run at the national championship, as we said. So that's what I expect to happen.
Yeah, I love this defense. It was pretty solid last year, all things considered. And I think the best thing that happened to this defense was Lane Kiffin deciding, you know what, I'm going to get Blake Baker to stay as the defensive coordinator because this team is top 40 in defensive returning production. So that is certainly helpful. And they brought in like a stud at all three levels. You got that Prince Umanmielen guy from Ole Miss. He came over. You also added Jordan Ross from Tennessee. Stefan Green from Clemson is also there. So that front four is ridiculous. TJ Daugherty, I believe, led Ole Miss in tackles. He comes over. He joins Wilt Weeks to lead that linebacker group. And Ty Benefield from Boise State joins the secondary. DJ Pickett's back. Deshaun Spears is back. PJ Woodland's back. I mean, there's nothing I hate about this defense at all. If it wasn't for Georgia, LSU might be my favorite defense in this conference. Yep. I think it's just great. And Tim's got that schedule up there. So we talked about why they need to gel on both sides of the ball quick. That September schedule sucks, man. That's what I get. We may be down on Clemson, but still there's a lot of different parts that LSU's got to figure out and get together before that game. Cause it's still Clemson and Dabo. I mean, we pick on them a lot, but still. And then that game against Louisiana Tech shouldn't be difficult, but are you focusing on week 3? Because let's face it, that may or may not be a big game. You've already got police telling people in Ole Miss, don't do anything stupid or we're going to shoot you. I mean, it's just going to be awesome.
Well, Golding said there's no ill will.
None at all.
That's what he said. He said there's no ill will there. So I guess
Lane would never lie, right? I mean,
it'll be all peace and love. Peace and love.
Be handing out flowers at the gate to all paid admissions. And then after that, you get Texas A&M. So it's like, God damn. Nobody did Lane any favors with this schedule in year 1. That being said, they go 2-1 in that.
Yeah.
I mean, they could roll. I mean, if they beat Ole Miss, they may win every road game. I mean, they're one of the schools that has 5, but after that, you've got Kentucky, Auburn, Tennessee, and Arkansas.
Yep.
You could win all that. Mm-hmm. And I would expect by week 6, which is when those last 4 road games begin, they're probably going to be gelled on both sides of the ball. So they could possibly not lose a road game. And then at home game, you've got A&M, Alabama, and Texas. But they're at home, and you do have Mississippi State, which should be like an intensified practice. Yeah, I mean, like Pete and I said, we've got a bet on them to win the national championship. I don't have any other bet on them at the moment. I do lean over that 8.5 wins. However, I think this could easily be a 10-2 team, and obviously a playoff team as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Let us have it.
Yeah, well, I've got the over 8.5 wins here. I have a little championship checklist that I created for each of these teams. It's 10 factors, green, yellow, red, just to make it easy. LSU, almost all green, 2 yellows, 1 red, which is really good, by the way. The only yellows I have, right, championship offensive line, I think Seton is elite. I think cohesion is uncertain, so that's yellow. Proven number 1 receiver. They got a big receiver room. They have a lot of wide receivers. I want to see somebody step up and be the number 1. Don't have that yet, but I think there's potential. The red, I already talked about continuity, right? The whole flipping roster turned over. So, it doesn't mean it's bad. It's just red is, it's potentially concerning. But with all that, I mean, if you look at everything else, it's like solid green, right? So from my perspective, this 8.5, no problem, right? I really think that this is a excellent over bet. So over 8.5, 115, minus 115, 1 unit on that. Heck, I probably should have gone 2, but I went 1. So love the bet, love the team. And as Darren and I said in the national championship show, we expect this team to make a run. And something I said earlier, if you got LSU playing Georgia in the playoffs sometime, that's where Gunnar gets exposed. Right? Moving on. I had to tie it back in there. Sorry.
It's all right. Tim, our boy Drew is in the chat.
Let's put it on.
I haven't heard from Drew since last year. Yeah, there he is. Drew, welcome back, man. Good to see you. A50 seems attractive to win the conference. Yeah, it kind of does. I mean, that schedule's not terrible. I mean, I think they've got the right games at home. If you got DraftKings in your stage, you can get 9-1 there. So, Pete, what's FanDuel got currently? Anything better than 9-1 on LSU?
Yeah, hold on. I do. Hold on. Where are we? Sorry, I lost my spot. Plus 900.
All right. So, yeah, if you got DraftKings or FanDuel, Drew, you want to take a shot there? Pete and I don't hate that.
Nope.
Right. Yeah, good to see you. Good to have you back, man. Tim, what are your thoughts here? Are you with us or again?
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously, Death Valley is a great home field advantage. So I think they will win on the 19th. I think it's going to come right down to like one of the final plays. I think the QB at Ole Miss keeps them in it. And they got Alabama, they got Texas, but they're at home. Yeah, I could easily see. There's that E word. There I go again. But yeah, I can see 9, maybe even 10 wins on this schedule. If they get by the 19th, I think they sweep the road games. I don't see any big bumps. We'll see what Byram does at Auburn there. But yeah, I don't see any reason to doubt that they can get to at least 9 wins, if not more, for that schedule. And to have that home field advantage, we got to go to an LSU game one of these years. We got to get down there.
Oh, we should definitely do that.
Yeah. Make sure it's at night. It's got to be one of those 8:30 kickoffs or whatever.
That'll cost us, but we will go.
Yes.
It'll cost us, and we'll be blackout drunk probably by.
Bro, if LSU wins the national championship, Pete and I can spring for the tickets.
There we go.
Actually, if BYU wins the national championship, it's on me.
It trips on Darren. There we go. Let's go BYU. So, all right. And now we've got Mississippi State.
Oh, God. I hate the alphabet. So, okay, first of all, we all mock our high school, and I get it. We went alphabetically, and I know Mississippi technically comes before Mississippi State. But nobody calls Mississippi, Mississippi. They call them Ole Miss. That's why they're not on this show. Before anybody criticizes our alphabet skills.
Oh.
That's why
they're bad, but it's okay.
Well, they are.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't matter. Plus 20,000 to win the conference. Over under 4.5 wins. Eesh, this is ugly. I think as this segment goes on, it's not going to get any prettier. Darren, shed some light on this situation.
Yeah,
here.
You can get plus 25,000 if you
are
a big fan of cowbells. You can get that at DraftKings. But yeah, 5-8 did get to a bowl game because there weren't enough 6-win teams to get there. So they promptly went to the Duke's Mayo Bowl and got beat by Wake Forest, for crying out loud. New defensive coordinator, which could be helpful because that was the huge problem with this team. But again, that guy was from FSU, Zach Arnett, so who knows how good he is. Offensively, I do like me some Camario Taylor. Not gonna lie, I think they've got a potential stud at QB there. I also like Fluff Bothwell. I also like Anthony Evans at the wide receiver position. So yes, I do not hate this offense at all. Camario Taylor, definitely a dual threat. He was third on the team in rushing, and the dude barely played. So I mean, that kind of gives you some kind of idea of how that offense looked. The offensive line is going to be the key here. I mean, this unit allowed 45 sacks, which was fourth most in the country. So they brought in 8 offensive linemen in the portal. So this is a complete rebuild. Usually I'm a fan when you suck at something and you're bringing in all new guys. So I am kind of cautiously optimistic with this offense here. I mean, that's why Jeff Lebby was brought in, right? Because didn't he know offense? So I expect a good offense here, Pete. What do you think?
I agree. I think this team could be fun to watch on the offensive side of the ball if Taylor's healthy, because he is a legitimate stud who definitely could evolve. I mean, you talk about somebody that's got this potential skill set, the body and all for the NFL. This is somebody who does, right? So I'm not saying he's going to be, but certainly big guy, can run. So he's a power runner. He's got speed. He's got arm talent. So he's got a lot of upsides, right? A lot of things. So it's fun for him to watch. I agree that he's got some skilled people to work with, which is good. The line is going to be a problem. Now, for somebody like him that's mobile, that's big, it's not as big of a problem, but it's still a problem. And I think that continuity there will be an issue. They try to cover it up with scheme, moving pockets and things to protect, Taylor and the rest of the group, which can work. But the problem is that doesn't work very well when you play against teams like Georgia and LSU and these teams that have like really good defenses. That's where the problems arise, right? So this team is not beating those teams, even with Taylor, although he'll still be fun to watch, but he'll be running for his life probably, but still be fun to watch. So offense, love what I see. I mean, love's a strong word. I like what I see, like the quarterback. Offensive line is the question. But yeah, you got the right coach in place who should be able to get something out of this offense. So could be interesting for sure. Defensive side of the ball, we got Williams and Jason Jennings that add a little bit of athletic upside on the edge, which is good. The middle of the line guys are, they have decent size and all of that. So not a bad unit, right? Not a great unit, but not a bad unit. But secondary is the defensive strength of this team, which certainly I think they're going to need to try to keep some of these other teams scoring under control to stay in some of these games. But, overall, I think this team will be more interesting than last year. I think they'll be a little better. But yeah, it really remains to be seen if they can play with any of the big boys. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, defensively, I agree. The secondary is the strength here if you want to find one. This front seven, though, is not very good. If it wasn't for Arkansas, this unit would have been last in more categories defensively than they were. As it was, they were last in the SEC against the run. They only managed 21 sacks. There are a couple of good pieces, like Pete said, and Zach Arnett was a DC here many moons ago, and he actually did an excellent job. But this dude's got his work cut out for him because this defense does not look very good. And if this offense is going to be a quick strike, up-tempo offense, which I think with Camario Taylor it has to be, there could be some quick scoring drives. This defense might be on the field a little bit more than any Bulldog fan wants them to be. So I actually this would have been a fourth bet. But my therapist said don't do that. You still have 3 other shows to go. So yeah, I do lean the under here. It is a little bit it looks like plus 115 at DraftKings. I would go that way if I was going anywhere. Now Camario Taylor looks good, but again, this would really be his first full year as a starter. Just too many questions on the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, I lean under. Didn't bet it, but I do have a serious lean to the under here. Tim?
Yeah, I was leaning under as well. I mean, looking at this schedule, I'm thinking the only weeks they won't lose, maybe September 5th, Louisiana Monroe. They got maybe Vanderbilt, Tennessee Tech, and, October 10th, the open date. They won't lose there. Other than that, I do not see any. I mean, you look at a lot of these lower-level teams, I think a lot of the unders are going to hit. Like I said before, so which is why I put the over for Georgia. But looking at the schedule, yeah, I see 3 wins max, and that's if they get Vanderbilt at home. So I was going to bet the under as well. This is my bet for for this team, but I decided not to. So I was also leaning the under. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I like that under bet. I mentioned that championship checklist thing that I have, right? 10 factors. 5 of them are red, one is yellow, right? So 6 of the 10 are not pointing the right direction. It's no surprise with this team. I think there's certainly some quarterback upside here, but who knows, right? Where that's going to go. That under bet would make a lot of sense because I just looking at that schedule, it's a cherry picking a few that they're going to beat. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble. So yeah, I agree with your perspective.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I agree. Vanderbilt might be their only home win. I don't know if they win any road games. South Carolina, LSU, Texas, and Ole Miss.
No.
I might know Ole Miss is the rivalry, but Ole Miss smoked them last year. I don't know if they win any of those.
Right.
I don't think they go up to Minnesota and win that game either.
No.
Yeah, so I mean, you win the 2 non-conference ones, maybe Vanderbilt, you would have to pull 2 other upsets somewhere to get to the over. So yeah, I agree with you guys. That's an easy under for me.
Yeah, they got the fever. More cowbell isn't going to help with the prescription. So long year for Mississippi State. Any final thoughts on this first half of our SEC preview, boys? Darren, what you got? Anything?
I'm glad we didn't do the whole conference tonight.
No kidding.
This was a good move. A good move.
Because next week, when we have the same discussion about Marcel Reed that we had about Gunnar Stockton, I'm figuring 8 teams in another 90 minutes is probably going to happen next Thursday as well. But no, I like how we did this. We went a little more in depth. We saw some new faces and some old friends pop in the chat. We enjoyed that. But yeah, I mean, once this goes to a video form in the next hour or two, let us know what you guys think. If you guys made any bets, if you agree with what we bet, if you think we're idiots. But wow, who is that delinquent that made 3 bets tonight?
Wow, who is that guy? Oh wait, yeah, that guy. Yeah,
I do have 3 units on Georgia over 9.5 wins at -160. Peter.
Yeah, I probably should have 8 units on LSU over 8.5 wins, then -115. But I have 1 unit, so feel free to go heavier if you're going to follow.
And Degenerate Darren, what you got here?
I just bet half the 8 teams to go over and the other half to go under. I have 1 unit on Alabama over 8.5 at even money. I have a half unit profit boosted. Thank you, FanDuel, on Georgia to win the SEC. And I have Kentucky at plus money as well to go under 4.5, 1 unit on that play also.
Yeah, just got a text from Saratoga Ray. He likes the Gators to win the conference.
Really? So the Gators, all right. Well, I mean, that's a big summer all bet right there, right? As I said, I wouldn't bet against them, but I don't know.
He's going Florida all, I guess.
Florida all. I like it.
Florida all. So there you go from our roving degenerate Saratoga Ray. I'm sure
that is indeed a degenerate. Yeah.
He's probably still picking up losing tickets at the track here. So
that's harsh.
Well, is it true? I mean, come on.
I just
So
probably yes.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for our first half of our SEC preview. Once again, if you want to email us, we have a new email, targetingwinners@gmail.com. Thank you all for watching, listening, and commenting. We will catch you next week, same time, and we'll do another live stream for part 2 of our SEC preview. For Darren and Peter, Tim, the FSU Homer here, signing off, and we'll catch you guys next week.
See you next week.